Oh, hey fellas. How you doing? Welcome back to Los Angeles, California. My name's Dan. You guys may know me not, but I'm in my new office, which is still in progress at our new shop just south of downtown in Los Angeles. And we're just recovering from the NAMM Show, so pardon my Kermit the Frog voice. But I'd like to take you and show you the new shop today, maybe show off a little bit. See our new workspace, our new wood shop, where we're going to be producing our own cabinets, and sort of a Sonicstate exclusive. You came on a good day. We're actually running the very first prototypes of our cabinets today. So we'll get some footage of our new CNC machine working. You can meet a couple of guys on the crew, and we're going to try to make something look like a little Elvis combo today. So let's go have a look.
Okay, so Dan, where are we going first then?
Well, hey guys, again, welcome to our shop. So you guys are getting the first look at our new workspace. We just have at our new factory. It's a little bit of a NAMM mess here, so pardon it all. We just got back from NAMM and trying to get everything in order. But I'm going to take you and show you our workspace. You're going to see some amps being made. Hopefully meet our amp engineer and tech, Mike Franciscini, and see what's going on, and then we'll head over to the wood shop afterwards.
Cool, let's go.
So this is a brand new space the guys at Boutique Amps Distribution built for us. And, pretty large, nice, sunlit workspace that we didn't have. You saw our old shop, and it was kind of homey and cute, but now we're sort of being professional. So, as you come over here, let's go look at some amps in progress. And this is sort of current production stuff for this week. And this is Carlos, our head builder, and he's making everything as nice as he can. Carlos is sort of the man in charge when it comes to the look and the production quality inside the chassis. He makes sure that everything's perfect. And this is Jesus, our second builder, who's doing the same thing. He's prepping some boards for Carlos so we can get it all out the door. So everything that you need to make an amp is here right behind you. We have, all the board parts short of the transformers. And then as we go further down, as the chassis get finished, they'll get on the rack here. Mike will give them a test. He's in the middle of a meeting right now, so we'll bother him later. And then it'll come around here to Joe. I think you guys might have met Joe before.
We met Joe at NAMM, and I think last year he had a big mustache.
Joe's doing, customer service, so we won't bother him. Hey, Joe, this is Joe Bourdain. The guys from Sonicstate magazine in England.
Hello.
So Joe's getting everything all cleaned up and nice and ready to ship out.
Is that a cup of tea as well there, Joe?
Yeah.
Good to see.
Good, man. There's our old NAMM booth, which I think you guys were in before.
Yeah.
You saw that last year, I believe, with all the record albums. That's now our just sound room that we test in. It doesn't have the black velvet all over it, so you can tell how ratty it actually was. My white Strat that you've seen on the show quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is our old house, London there. A couple of Elliott guitars. Guitars I all use on the show. And we come in here, bring the amps in here, and make sure that they're not rattling and the tubes are working right and not humming and performing correctly. When you close this door, it's pretty sound tight.
So are these album covers from your personal collection?
No. There's a guy that worked with us named Wayne Failer, and he said he had a friend with a used record store, and they had a bunch of records that weren't playable.
Right.
And I gave him a $50 budget, and he came back with all this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So after the amps get teched by Mike over there, they come over here to Joe, who gives them a secondary test. We like to have more than one person look at them, just because it tends to, we catch all of the boo-boos. And with hand-wired amps, they are made by humans, so there's a little bit of massaging we have to do to each one to get the wire routing just perfect and keep them quiet. But then after that, it comes right here to our burn rack, which is to your right. And we have a computer here that's running a program. You can see load resistors hanging off. So these amps are actually being hammered right now by this computer.
Oh, cool.
It's a program we downloaded from NASA's website that they use to stress their electronic equipment. And it's way more abuse than a guitar or a pedal would ever give an amp. So if anything's going to go wrong with the amps, it'll go wrong here.
Okay.
We have a joke in the shop that I never want to see these amps again unless they're on TV. So, people pay a lot of money for these, so we want to make sure they're correct. So they usually sit on here for at least 2 days.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the bench, make sure they're still doing what they did before they went on the bench. And then we feel good enough to go ahead and put it into wood, and it'll get play tested in there, and packaged in a nice hard carton, and sent to some loving home.
Great, and I hear that in the new workshop you've got a CNC machine that is going to let you build cabs.
We do.
Very fast.
What's amazing is Boutique Amps Distribution bought us this machine. They use it for other stuff too, but they bought it mostly to make our cabinets because they know they're rather complex. So yeah, we have a nice 30-foot long CNC machine with 4 head routers on it.
Yeah.
And it'll do everything that we can do that used to be a whole day's work. You can take one sheet of wood that would take a person a whole day to cut out, and I think maybe we can go over there and cut some wood. I think one of the programs we're running today cuts out 2 combos and 2 heads, and in 20 minutes.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah.
So this is the first time you're doing it?
Yeah, we're running. Well, we've been running test programs. So
yeah.
Today's the first day we're trying to actually make production cabs.
Okay, great.
So I know they've already done some cutting over there, and we've started putting some stuff together. So let's go bother those guys and see what we can find out.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so here we have the first prototype, I believe, on the CNC. Is that right?
This is the very first complete cabinet that we made on the CNC. And this one will never get sold to anybody. We're just trying to make sure everything fits. And so with Tolex and piping in here, this will all fit flush.
Yeah.
We split the wood, so we cleaned it up just so we can Tolex it and make sure the dimensions are correct. But a little bit of a round over on here, and you can see this is going to be a little Elvis combo.
Okay.
Or a Tupelo, as the case may be. It's the same cabinet, but this is our Baltic birch cab in production. So you can see the nice finger joints here, and cut with the CNC machine. In theory, these joints are stronger than the wood.
Yeah.
Now, if you can run your hand across there, you can feel that it just feels like one piece of wood.
So how long would it take to do this by hand?
I think a competent woodworker could make this cabinet, just one of them, probably in 3 or 4 hours.
Okay. And this took, obviously, 20 minutes on the machine.
No, the 20 minutes was this,
okay,
and 2 heads.
Right. So on top of that time then, how much time then goes into doing work on it by hand here?
The final round over, we'll meet Lagunas. It takes him about a minute.
Okay, so you're cutting time down by hours.
Yeah, we're cutting 90% of it out. And also the consistency is what's important. This is, if you notice on the amp, there's not a lot of straight lines on this.
Yeah.
And that's intentional. I want it to look like it was handmade because the first ones I made were handmade. And even these are all tapers. There's no perfectly straight lines here. And so with all of our cabinet manufacturing we've done over the years, that's always been the struggle, is to get that consistent and predictable.
Yeah.
With the CNC machine, I can show you a stack of these we cut. They're a mirror image, they're flawless. So we took the best one, we took a bunch of samples. And these guys are over there right now testing out baffle boards on some of our old cabs to make sure everything fits. But we wanted to make sure it was absolutely flawless and consistent. So our goal with this is, as I think you and I have talked about before, the reason we make it out of Baltic birch and not Chinese birch is that it's harder, old growth wood, so it resonates better.
Yep.
And it's much more consistent grain. Also with the Baltic birch, you don't see knots or voids in this wood. This is furniture grade wood.
Yeah, it's a really clean cut wood.
And then if you do a proper joint, what we really have here is one continuous piece of wood.
Yeah.
So it's going to resonate more like a drum shell than it is just a box with speakers hanging in it.
Yeah.
And all of that contributes to the sound. So we want the speaker cab to be an integral part of what we do. And so now with this CNC machine that we have, we can make them flawless. Once we get it flawless, then we can copy and make 50 a day if we have to. But it is expensive wood. And that's the biggest flaws you'll ever see in Baltic birch. It's very nice wood, whereas with the Asian birch that comes in, you see a lot of knots and voids, and that stuff doesn't sound good. It's sort of like water. If you put a rock in the middle of a stream, what it does to the water waves, that's what a knot does in the wood to sound. So when you see drum shells, they're made out of perfect laminations for that very reason, so they can resonate. And that's one of the ways we get a lot of sound out of a small cab. People comment like little Elvis is 12 watts. If you take a little Elvis head and put it on most other cabinets, it's not very loud.
Yeah.
Put it in ours, there's a noticeable difference. And plus we're just that nerdy.
Yeah. I saw some guys wearing earplugs actually in the 65 amps booth at NAMM.
Oh yeah.
They are loud amps.
Yeah, they're really loud. You're really more concerned about decibels than you are watts.
Yeah.
Sort of, I always make the engine analogy on my show that, it's a pair of EL84s. I know what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you know what a 6-cylinder car is like. Yeah. Is it a Vauxhall van or is it a Porsche Turbo? It's the same 6 cylinders, right? They should be exactly the same. So there's a lot of different things, the different steps you can take to really increase the quality of it. And this is just one of the nerdy things we do. But this thing's just solid as a rock. I can show you one that doesn't have the round over done on it, doesn't have glue or anything on it, and we can throw it on the floor and you'll see how tight these joints are.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, let's go do that. So this is the cabinet I was talking about. These joints made by the CNC machine are so tight you can't put them together by hand. We have to use a mallet. And it takes a lot of work to get them in there. They're really, really tight. So there's no glue, no nails or anything in this, and you can take it and and it doesn't move. It's no problem.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a real cabinet.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason we charge what we do, but it's to do that costs money, but also people pay sometimes a month's salary for one of our amplifiers.
Yeah.
We think we owe it to them to make something that's proper.
Yeah, fair enough. And then that goes over to where we just work.
Yes.
And gets finished up.
Yeah, something like this. We'll go over there and they'll do the final round over on it. Let it dry. Put a little bit of glue. They literally just put a drop of glue in each joint.
Yeah.
And just to solidify it up, because it is going to be vibrating for 30 or 40 years. So we want to sure it up as much as possible. You guys want to have a look at our machine?
Yeah, and who's this guy here, right? He's the guy who operates the machine.
He's Jack. He's the smart guy here.
Yeah.
He's the one He's the one programming the machine.
Yeah.
Jack is a consultant.
On the dustiest laptop I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, it's a wood shop.
Yeah.
I gave all the amps to Jack. He measured them perfectly. He programs it all in. We've spent a couple weeks trying to get it right. And the machine itself is fascinating. It's a very complex machine. That's our air compressor going off. It's made in Italy, so most of the people, your fans in Europe, will know Biesi. It's an Italian company, really high-end woodworking stuff. So yeah, come over and have a look at it. And you can see a little bit here on the screen of what we do. This is the sheet we're going to cut. And so you can see in here we've got 2 combos. There's a 112 and a 212. Here's the front piece for the 212, the front piece for the 112, and then 2 heads, and then the upper facade of the 2 combos that we're making, that we saw over there. That's what we're going to cut on the machine. And as you run this, you'll see code just go by, mostly in Italian. You can see nice Cicchilo di something there. I don't have my glasses on, but it's an astonishing piece of engineering. And so it's a 30-foot vacuum table. And you lay the wood down in there, it sucks it all down rock solid.
Yeah.
And then a CNC-driven set of 4 router heads are going to go through there and cut it all at lightning speed. I think the sheet that we cut, that'll be 20 minutes, that's running at 10% speed.
Okay.
And we're probably never going to run it at 100% because we really don't want to run that in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's possible to do that. So for stuff that's just straight cut, we can really increase the speed. But doing the joints, we want to keep it low so it doesn't splinter the wood.
Okay.
But yeah, it's quite an advancement in cabinetry, I think. I don't know anybody making high-end cabinets this way. I think a lot of the, mass-produced stuff that comes from Asia is probably made this way. But doing it with the premium wood and doing a complex design, I don't know of anybody who's tried to do that yet.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to make these amps a little more affordable, which we've already done this year because of this. It's cut our build cost down quite a bit, and just the labor and time all cost money.
So with all this new development going on, have you got new plans for 2013? Has it changed the way you're looking at the next year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, we are going to be doing a printed circuit board version of our amps. It's not going to be one for one, like we're not going to do a printed circuit board Ventura, but
right.
It'll be based on our amps, and I can show you the prototype board that we have.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's go do that.
And then we are going to be releasing some pedals this summer.
Okay.
So we're going to keep all three of our lines. We kind of follow the Mercedes model.
Yeah.
The blue line is your S-Class.
Yeah.
The red line is the E-Class. Still a fine automobile. No one looks down their nose at it, but it's a little more affordable. It's 60% the price of an S-Class. But then we need to make a C-Class also, which is a very respectable, affordable car that most working people can buy without losing any sleep.
Yeah.
But still be premium quality. That's the goal. So we're going to try to do PCBs sort of different than you've seen it before.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, let's go do it. Okay, so again, sort of a Sonicstate exclusive. This is just a prototype we built of a Ventura. My goal is to make these sound exactly like a hand-wired amp. And the big difference between hand-wired and printed circuit board amps are, with full proper wire, you get a little different sound quality and you can change it. So what we've done, you can see the traces here. They're sealed 4-ounce copper traces. Most, if not all, printed circuit board amps are made with 1-ounce copper traces. So we're using 4-ounce large traces. These are the exact same components it's in the regular Ventura. Literally, it's note for note the same amp. And obviously we're not finished, but we had it working. It sounded indecipherable. We did a blind test here in the shop. And they wouldn't let me know which one was which. And we played it, and it sounds exactly the same. It's kind of an expensive way to make things, but what you'll see on a lot of printed circuit board amps is the components get shrunk. There's a certain tolerance of components you need in a circuit. And they make smaller versions of these that, allow you to miniaturize the circuit. But they don't sound the same. They sound different. Better or worse is up to you, but they just sound different. We're using actually all of the same exact components. These aren't even board, what do they call it, hole through. They're not designed for a printed circuit board. We're using gigantic solder pads on here with huge copper traces that are all underneath the board on a different plane. And it's just a different way of doing it. There's a few guys that make really strong printed circuit board amps, but you can count them on one hand in history. So we're going to try to take it to that. This is regular Ventura chassis. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This isn't even a Ventura. I misspoke. This is a London Pro. But anyway, you get the idea. It's the same exact chassis, same switches, jacks, pots, blah, 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 blah. So that's where we're going to go, and we should have our first amps that you can play these, hopefully by the end of the summer or early fall, where we've got them. We've done enough iterations where we're happy with it. We feel they're consistent and they sound the way they should. We're not going to do note-for-note versions of our hand-wired amps, because with the printed circuit board, you can add some more functionality to it. But I think we're going to do, start off with a 30-watt amp, either, I think, 4 EL84s. Not going to be an AC30. It won't be a Vox circuit, but the EL84 is my favorite tube. And we seem to get a lot of traction with those. And we've had tons of demand for affordable 65, so we're going to try to provide that. We're going to use the same, American transformers, the whole bit. So it should hopefully be a nice evolution in the printed circuit board market. And we're trying to keep the price anywhere from in the U.S. From $800 to $1,200. So what does that come out to? 550 to 900 pounds, somewhere around there. And fingers crossed. So for the third Sonicstate exclusive, this is our new pedal enclosure that we're going to use for our foot switches and for our line of pedals that we're going to have out this summer. So you should see a good booster and a couple of distortion pedals from us. Kind of vintage voice stuff that we like to do. This is my oldest daughter. You should know her as well. But yeah, one of the biggest complaints we've had over the years is we use the HOSA switches, which are the best switches you can buy on the market, but they kind of look like a black box and it says HOSA on it. So we finally decided to knuckle down and just go ahead and make our own. So this is a prototype. The little vents come off. It's very cute. And on our actual effects pedals, we're going to have LEDs behind this, so it looks like a glowing tube amp. Just to be that nerdy, just to have that much fun and be that much of an amp freak. But anyway, so what does that make now? I think three Sonicstate exclusives. You've broken the story now 3 times. So there you have it.